Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metza. We have a very special and exclusive interview with a man who happens to be a very good friend of mine, actor-musician Chris Mulkey. If you've cruised through the channels at night, you've seen this man in a television or movie at some point. He's been in over 70 productions on television and in the movie theater. He played Annie Potts' husband in Any Day Now from 1998 to 2002. He has also appeared in Captain Phillips, Against the Wall, Cloverfield, the NBC TV movie Knight Rider, 24, Boardwalk Empire, Friday Night Lights, Better Call Saul, Boomtown, Justify, Beretta, and Twin Peaks, among others. Not only is he originally a St. Paul native, he's a really cool musician and a songwriter. We're going to be listening to some of his music tonight. But not only did he celebrate a birthday this week, he also survived COVID-19. Chris Mulkey, thanks for being with us on the Wall of Power Radio Hour.
Paul, it's my pleasure. Good to talk to you again.
Yeah. Well, it's I haven't seen you in a while, and I'm so, I've followed on Facebook that you got the virus and you survived, knock on wood, thank God. Tell us what it was like and how did you know you had something other than the flu?
Honestly, I didn't. I mean, we got it early. My daughter went to see a show at a club that I play at. This called the Bourbon Room up in Hollywood. They're doing every night. The 6 days a week they do a show up there, and she wanted to do her cabaret, and she was talking to a guy that's in the show, and he was sweaty and blah blah blah, and then just they were at a table talking real close. I mean, because it's noisy, and he's coughing and stuff like that. And 2 days later, she's not feeling really good, and then 4 days later, she's got a temperature, and I go over there for dinner, and then we're all sick 6 days later.
Wow.
Why did I know I didn't feel well? I rode my bike from my house to Venice Beach, which is about 8 blocks. And I laid down in the sand and I thought, man, I'm getting really old. I can't even ride a mile to the beach on a bike. This is crazy.
Right.
And I fell asleep for 2 hours on the sand, exhausted. And I pedaled back and then went to sleep for 4 more hours. And I felt like a noodle. My whole body ached. And I went, I probably had this thing. And then I got tested like 5 days later and I had the thing. So.
Wow. So what was your length of recovery and what was the stages of recovery?
Let me see. First, week or 8 days. I don't even remember because I just slept all the time. I couldn't watch TV, Paul. I couldn't play music. I couldn't listen to music. And I couldn't read anything. And I was super tired. I'd go down and have a cup of coffee and I'd say, oh man, I'm really tired, and go back to sleep for like 4 hours.
Wow.
So I don't remember anything really. And luckily Dana Sparks, who had got it with me, my girlfriend, she and I had it together. So it was, so the first 7 days, she recovered quicker than me. Were a blank, and then another whole week where I was 50%, but I didn't talk to anybody. You notice I wasn't bugging you,
right.
Going, what's up, Paul? So I stayed off the internet for like 3 weeks, and but now it's been 8 weeks, and I'm riding my bike and lifting weights and playing music and talking to you on the radio, and I got my sense of humor back too, so it's great.
Well, you're one of the funniest guys I know, and a great hang, by the way. So your daughter's got kids, right?
Yes, 2 and 5.
So how did when your daughter was sick, how did she deal with taking care of the kids?
Well, women are 50% easily stronger than men.
Oh yeah, easily.
And they can do
smarter,
stuff
smarter,
smarter, and they can. I don't know how they did it. I just don't know. It was just because they powered through it. I think Aubrey, the husband, got well a couple days after Amelia did, but they just powered through it. And my mother, my daughter's mother-in-law lives there as well in the other house, and she got it. She's 65.
Wow.
And she got hit really pretty hard, and took longer than any of us to recover. But we're all back and fine.
Chris Mulkey, you
Ouch.
have such a storied career in film and television, and you just had a little correspondence with one of the first couples, well-known American couples that contracted it, and that's Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, and you were in Captain Phillips with Tom Hanks. So tell us about how's Tom and Rita doing now?
They're doing great. I did Captain Phillips with Tom, and then Rita Wilson and I did a movie called Gloria Bell that came out this time last year with John Turturro and Juliana Moore. Mm-hmm. It's a great, great movie. It's called Gloria Bell. So I've worked with both of them, which is kind of hilarious. Mm-hmm. I played Rita's husband. But anyhow, they're doing good, and they're a big advocate for people following protocol and social distancing, and being really smart about this. And so, they're socially minded, socially conscious people. And but they were really sick. They got hit down in Australia when they were getting ready to do, what was Tom going to do down there? I don't know. I can't remember. But I was supposed to be in Europe right now shooting a TV series. But we pushed that until July. And since I've had COVID already, I can go do it. So,
well, and we're going to talk about with my guest Chris Mulkey a little later on in the show. We're going to talk about the effect that this has on the film and television business, and as well as the music scene, because Chris has been playing for years, a great guitar player and songwriter. Now, Chris, while we were getting the technical part of this interview set up tonight, you were telling us about something you just read in the LA Times about the epidemic of the Spanish flu in 2018. Tell us what about that article. Well,
it was in the LA Times, and the LA Times covered the Spanish flu in 1918 and 1919, right at the end of the World War I. And it killed millions of people, including, Paul, my father's mother down in Savannah, Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah. So it chronicled what the steps were: social distancing, wear masks. And then summer came, and everybody said, we're not going to wear masks anymore. And all the people, all the mayors and everything across California said, yes, we're opening up the state. And all of America opened up following suit. And they had a great summer. And then August came along, and it resurged. And I think it killed 250,000 people in 3 months.
Holy cow.
After that, just that one thing. And then when Christmas came, it resurged again, and it killed, I think, 60 million people worldwide, maybe more.
Isn't that incredible?
So people went, none of this matters. It's summertime. It's beautiful outside. But they didn't have a virus. It was a virus. It was the same deal. And they didn't have an anecdote, and they weren't conscious. And in California, they had measures in place, but they let them go. In Kansas City and Milwaukee, the two towns that went from the get-go, Spanish flu, who cares? Everybody's going to get it. The Spanish flu decimated Kansas City and Milwaukee. It's a really interesting article. I'll send it to you.
Right.
So, but we're doing exactly what they did then. There were demonstrations in the streets in 1918 in the springtime going, this has turned into a communist country. We have no control. I mean, the rhetoric was exactly the same.
And that was 100 years ago.
Yeah, it was right. It was 100 years ago. So it proves that I guess we're not smarter, or some people are not smarter. But you and I, we're on it.
Well, I have to say, Chris, I know because you spend a lot of time when you can back up here in Minnesota, and we sure hope when the smoke clears you can come back. But Governor Walz here is doing an incredible job. We're actually one of the safest and healthiest states in the union, and he's extended the stay at home orders for about another week or week and a half. So we feel good. And, of course, we got the Mayo Clinic, the University of Minnesota, and Medtronic, so we're in good hands. We're going to listen to a little bit of Chris Mulkey from a scene in the movie Captain Phillips, and we'll be back for the rest of the show with my good friend Chris.
Hey, I heard Gloria's new friends living with you. Got a three-way going or what? Bitches on my crew. You ask me, shit's out of control.
Funny thing, I didn't ask you.
Come on, let's go, come on.
Oh, please, take it easy.
What are you gonna do, my taxes? Huh?
Should have done that, Earl.
Cap. They're coming back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's right.
No, wait. I'm a union guy, okay? 25 years, all right? And I'm telling you right now, then they're not paying me enough to fight pirates, okay? Yeah.
You all signed up for a route that went around the Horn of Africa. What did you expect?
We get out, we put some room between us and
Go
them.
where?
Turn and
Go where? In 8 hours, we could be, what, 100 miles from
100
here?
to 150 easy.
I mean, and you're a fireman, right? I mean, you've probably seen a whole lot of stuff.
I used to be a fireman. Drinking got the best of me. I couldn't control it, so they fired me. Tried the Bible, Jim Beam versus John 3:10. That didn't work out.
Well, Jim Beam won.
Yeah. Then I went to AA, let go and let God. And I'm keeping my side of the street clean.
Born by the river that walks to the sea. Never had much, just what he need. Traded his hours for a paycheck. Always believed in the miracle of what's next. Everyday man, doing what he can, get it done by hand. Everyday man, school of hard knocks.
Welcome back to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metz. We just heard a song written and performed by my guest, man of many talents, Mr. Chris Mulkey. Chris, tell us a little bit about that song. It sounds like it might have a cool backstory.
Oh, Down in the Hole. I wrote it for my uncle Bobby, who was he was an aeronautical engineer for years at Lockheed and developed the C-130 and Korean War veteran. And he had a farm outside of Atlanta, where my family's from, Atlanta, Georgia. We moved up north because we needed to make some money, so we moved up north. Anyhow, but Bobby stayed, and when he retired, he started growing. He was always a great grower. He always
had good gardens and things.
Good gardens, tomatoes, zucchini, okra. But he started growing some excellent marijuana. Just excellent. And
what year was that?
What year when he began?
Yeah.
I think he began growing. I'm going to say 1980.
Okay.
Probably 1980.
That's something fun to do in your retirement.
Yeah, he had a 42 acre farm in Marietta, and anyhow, so then I would go down there and we'd drink muscadine wine. It's muscadine's a grape that they grow down there, and then we'd smoke some of his product, and it was great. And so things went along anyhow, and I went down there one time. Coincidentally, I was doing Michael Mann's TV miniseries called drug wars.
Okay.
And, and
So
I
you
went up,
were trying to get in character, is what you were doing.
I was playing a DEA. was playing a DEA guy, and anyhow, so I went up there to visit him because I had a couple of days off, and I went up to a ranch and the farm, and I noticed that they're having a barbecue, and some people. I wasn't getting a good vibe from a couple of the neighbors that were there. It just like seemed a little shady. Anyhow, they turned out to be undercover cops with the Atlanta and PD, and so they busted my uncle, and he got he copped a plea bargain so that everybody didn't go to jail, and now this is the time when marijuana is legal in California, and you can grow a couple plants and blah blah blah. And at very worst, if you're driving a car, they'll give you a ticket for smoking a joint. Right. So, but down there, he got sentenced to 10 to 15 years in Atlanta State Prison, and he did 4. And while he was in there, and I went to visit him, I wrote a song for him called "Down in the Hole," and this is the song.
Very cool.
Dedicated to my Uncle Bobby.
Cool. You know, Chris, there was a great John Bream, the music critic for the Star Tribune, wrote a book that came out several years ago called Dylan, and it was two people talking about every Dylan record that he ever did, and I did Under the Red Sky, which record that nobody likes but me, and with this Detroit writer. But there was a great story. Ike Riley, you might have heard of Ike. He's kind of a good punk rock songwriter from Chicago. He was talking about one of Dylan's records with Rick Ocasek from the Cars, and towards the end of the interview, Ike told Rick, he goes, "It was crazy, Rick. I remember when we got that cassette of one of those, that new Cars record, and we're driving around, the 4 of us outside of Chicago, listening to the record and smoking dope, and we got pulled over by the cops, and the cop goes, gentlemen," and he goes, "I smell," he goes, "Do you have cannabis in the?" "No, officer, just a little weed."
There you go.
And that's why they call it dope.
Yeah, that's why they call it dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's funny. So this, I wrote this for Uncle Bobby.
Now, Chris, you had kind of a long-standing gig out in Hollywood at the House of Blues, correct?
Yeah, I played there for 3 years, and during the 3 years, about a year and a half into it, they made us the house band in the Voodoo Lounge, and we were the house band for another year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we moved up to Vegas, and we started playing the House of Blues in Mandalay Bay in Vegas. So, yeah.
Well,
Vegas baby.
Yeah.
Vegas baby. We were Vegas baby.
Well, my good buddy Sonny Earl, my harmonica partner. In fact, we did a live stream on Saturday that AM 950 ran it last night, and we hadn't, he and I had been playing almost weekly since 1997. Then, of course, I played weekly with our good friend, may rest in peace, Willie Walker. Of course, Chris Malky used to sit in with us anytime he was in town at Shaw's. But number one, getting ready for the gig, Chris, and you can dig this, like, where's my capo? Where's my strings? Where's my chord? Because my stuff is not in one place. I'm playing all around the house. And Sonny really hadn't played in about 6 weeks. So we were rusty. It didn't take us long to kind of get back on the horse and ride. But you must be missing playing those live gigs like we were.
Oh, yeah. I played I used to play with, I played down in Louisiana for about 12 years. And I just, my last big gig was, I went down to New Orleans, and I played with legendary Cajun accordionist Wayne Toops.
Oh, sure.
And we just threw that down. So we were there. That was in late October, and then I came back and I played the Pacific Residency Theater. I had a standing gig over there. But I miss it, and all my friends who are great musicians like you and Sonny and all those guys, and it's just killing them. I mean, I was supposed to go down to Nashville and play down there with my friend Ira Dean and Chris Wallen and those guys, and and no one's going anywhere, and it's so hard. All the All the venues are closed. All the
Yeah.
tour gigs are closed. No one's traveling. It's really super tough. It's,
My friend Billy Alcorn, originally from southern Minnesota, went down to Nashville as a songwriter, ended up driving bus for everybody from Lemmy Motorhead to Kiss, and then started a business called Alcorn Custom Cases, which does just touring cases for everybody. I mean, Metallica, the WWE, Stevie Wonder, yeah. But I was just talking to him last week. He said, because there is no touring anymore, they don't even have enough room to park all the buses for the touring bands from Nashville, in Nashville.
wow. Oh, that's hilarious. No, it's not hilarious.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Yeah, we were. I was supposed to go down and play. Right now, I'm supposed to be in. I do the Murray Brothers event, the Caddyshack event. I play with Bill Murray and these guys, and we do this thing in Jacksonville, and nobody's. We had to cancel that. That's for sure. And I mean, it's crazy. But to that, my main gig is the actor gig, and the town is shut down. No one's filming anything. I had my gig that was supposed to be my acting gig in Vancouver for this series called The Power. That's been pushed. And then my other one, Mud on the Tires, which is a regular series that I'm going to do in Montauk, New York, and then travel to Europe and shoot a bunch of it in Serbia, has all been pushed until July. So,
Wow,
and
Chris,
at best.
Chris, hold on to some of those stories. We'll talk more about this with my guest, Chris Mulkey. We'll be back after these messages on the Wall of Power Radio Hour.
Wall of Power Radio Hour.
Welcome back to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metzen. My guest and good friend on for the whole show tonight, Mr. Chris Mulkey. Chris, I always like to occasionally give a shout out to the three ladies, the divas, that sang that bumper song for the Wall of Power Radio Hour. We recorded it up in Virginia, Minnesota. And you and I got to know each other in about 2005 because you were filming a movie called North Country in my hometown of Virginia. Do you remember those days, Chris?
Oh, that's great. I had a great time, and I'm so glad that we got together. That's for sure. Man, we have 3 books of stories from being friends this long. But those ladies sound great, by the way. My compliments. That's great.
Oh yeah, they've been singing forever. Shannon Gustin, Sharon Rowbottom, and Rosella Gams. Tell us a little bit about North Country. And the premise of the movie, and a couple of your co-stars that used to take over Chestnut Street and and get down at Flamer's Bar and have some fun.
Hey, John Flamer. Well, North Country was about the first sexual harassment suit ever filed in the United States, and coincidentally, my sister-in-law, Susie McPherson, who was a paralegal at that time, worked on that case. Unbelievable. But so they had me play one of the minors. Me and Jeremy Renner were the offending minors, and we were we accosted Charlize Theron, and Woody Harrelson played her boyfriend, and so it'd be Jeremy Renner, Charlize Theron, Rusty Schwimmer, Woody Harrelson, and myself. Yeah, at Flamers drinking. Yeah, we had a good time.
Second Avenue and Chestnut Street.
Yeah. It was. You can still see some of the teeth marks I left in the bar.
Well,
they were so great. We had such a great time.
Our good friend Gary Flamen, of course, you've had a long-standing invitation anytime you're in that area that you and I can go and play there. I think we threw down once or twice, and we were there one night with your lovely wife, may she rest in peace, Karen Landry, and my gal, Amy Hawkins Donlin, and my sister, who was, thank God, was there to drive me home because I think there was a little brandy flowing that night. Am I correct?
Oh man,
Chris?
I think we've played there 3 times.
Okay, I think we might have.
They're pretty epic all 3 times. Gary is a great host, and I love everybody down. Big shout out to Virginia, that's for sure.
Yeah,
it's so great. I just love it up there. I'm itching to go back to Minnesota. My family has a lake place up, of course, up in Cross Lake, Minnesota, by Brainerd. So, I need to get out, get in the car, get out on the highway, but not until things open up.
Yeah.
I don't want to be.
Well,
camping on
people
the side of
have,
the road.
because now people are just, everybody's streaming, listening to the radio show like the Wall of Power Radio Hour. But you were just saying on the break that you've got a show with my future ex-wife, Rosario Dawson, playing right now. Tell us about it.
Yeah. Well, great. Rosario plays this lawyer that comes back from D.C. to the small Texas town to investigate the death of her daughter, death of her sister, who was a police officer in that town. And it's very amazing. It's the series on USA Cable USA Network is called Briar Patch, and there's 10 episodes. And it's if you imagine Twin Peaks going to South Texas, you got it.
Okay.
It's Andy Greenwald. We just did a masterful job of producing and writing all of them, and it's just visually it's great, and it's trying to figure out who killed Rosario's trying to figure out who killed her sister, and it gets deeper and deeper and sexier and more violent, and it's great. I mean, it's terrific, and I look good in it. It's great. It's really I love the series. So tune in.
Well, I just finished what I think might be the greatest television series ever. The last season of Better Call Saul, and I was watching last season, and in the last episode, who appears as a Texas oil man with my other future ex-wife, Ray Seahorn, but my friend Chris Mulkey on Better Call Saul.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, she was great. I love that show.
I don't mean that it's the Me Too world, but she is smoking hot. She must just be a knockout in person.
Yeah, she's a lovely, lovely person. Really good actress.
Oh my goodness!
We totally nailed it. It's a good group in there. Jonathan Banks is on that show. Jonathan's an old friend of mine, and my late wife Karen Landry. So, yeah, it was really nice to go down there and do that. I'd like to jump in on that again. I don't know what's going to happen with all the this shutdown. They're going to open up the studios, they say, and start rolling in September with that Fox and Paramount and all over the place. So in town, and everybody's doing virtual and Zoom writing. So all the TV series are still, all the writers are writing, and the internet is connecting everyone. But we just have to, figure out what's going to really happen when it hits the fan. But I've been so lucky, Paul, to be able to do the work that I've done. It's just amazing. I'm really fortunate that I've worked as much as I have, and I got these 2 projects in the pipeline, and I'm working on some other stuff. So it's really great. But I want to go to the lake. I want to go to the lake and water ski. Okay, that's it. Okay, I said it. All right.
You betcha. You betcha.
Yeah, you want to get out on the dock and, fish.
Chris Mulkey, it's not only I've been a big fan of your work before I got to know you, but when I describe you to people, and trust me, if you've cruised around late night television, you've seen my guest Chris Mulkey. Google him, you'll see his handsome face. But I describe you, and I don't think I'm that far off base. I consider you the Warren Oates of our generation in terms of just an incredible character actor.
Yeah, Warren Oates was a great actor. Oh man, yeah, I'd like to. I wonder if I've done 105 feature films.
Wow.
I wonder how many Warren did. I think because he was a contract player. I think he's got me by about 20, but I'm not done yet. So we'll see what happens.
Well,
yeah,
and also I have the VHS copy that I bought for about a quarter at a garage sale years ago of the movie you wrote and produced and directed called Patty Rocks. And I'm amazed what I watched it again about a month ago, that you had room for actually any dialogue between all the F-bombs.
Yeah, that was that's one of the tricky things about writing a socially relevant, sexually frank movie. My wife Karen Landry co-wrote that on that as well, and she wrote all the really smart parts. But I did not direct that. David Burton Morris from St. Paul directed that.
Cool.
Yeah, I did not direct that, but I produced it and wrote it, and I starred in it. Yep, that's what I did.
Now, didn't it, Chris Mulkey? Didn't you get somebody said there was more F-bombs in that movie than there was in like a Eddie Murphy stand-up routine or something? I mean,
no, we had him by 2 links. No, but they were going to give us an X rating because of our content, our verbal content. And they were going to give us an X rating, and at the same time, Scarface came out, and it was a studio release, and they gave him an MP3, parental guidance, whatever it is. Yeah, and so our distributor went to the motion picture people, and they took a clicker, and they clicked only the F words on our show, and Scarface beat us by 10. So they were forced to allow us to have the same rating as Scarface, and we did really well. It played all over the world, and we got a bunch of awards, and it was nice, but it was really fun.
See, Chris Mulkey, we're going to play a little clip from probably one of the most iconic television series of all time, Twin Peaks. This is your character, Hank Jennings. We got a minute leading up to it. Chris, tell us about what was it like working with David Lynch and the crew on Twin Peaks?
Well, David wrote that with Mark Frost, who I went to school with at the University of Minnesota. And so working with a guy from Minnesota was a real treat. And his father, Warren Frost, the late Warren Frost, was my directing teacher at the University of Minnesota and also played a part in it, as well as I think there were 8 Minnesotans on the show. But David's a great director and a great visionary guy, and so it was always exciting and positive energy surrounding the show. I just can't tell you what a clean pitch it was. It was terrific in every way. I always say, it's when a money gig meets a soul gig.
Right.
Great. And it's a great role, great script. Dealing with a great subject, and it was the birth of magical realism in television writing.
Wow!
And so it was a great to be part of that. So I was thrilled, and I had a great time. And what a great group of actors! Oh my gosh!
So we've got Chris Mulkey on the whole show night of the Wall of Power Radio. We're so happy to have him. We're going to listen to a little bit of dialogue from his characters, Hank Jennings, on early Twin Peaks show, and have him on for one more set on the Wall of Power Radio Hour.
Hello, Hank. Hi, Harry. Glad to see me. You're looking for free lunch. I recommend a meatloaf. I'll save it. I'm looking for you. Thanks for the reminder, Sheriff. Stop in any time. You lied. You said you were being honest.
I am.
On the day Emily was murdered, a man named Bastian was released from prison. It says here that he killed before another girl 12 years ago.
That's right, he did.
So why didn't you tell people? Why didn't you warn them?
Prisoners are released on parole every day. It's not our job.
No, this is different. This is a murder. They set a murderer free and nobody knew about it. We learned by mistake. Family and country. He always felt the weight. Found the right girl. Took her hand. Made a solemn promise to be an everyday man. Everyday man. Everyday man. my hand, everyday man. Pasolino.
Welcome back to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. Fourth set, final set with my good friend Chris Mulkey. We just heard his tune, Everyday Man, that he wrote, performed. I've had the pleasure of playing that tune a dozen times with him. Chris, it's so good to hear you survived COVID-19, and you sound in great spirits. I saw a picture of you on Facebook. You did lose some weight, though.
I did. I lost 14 pounds.
Wow.
I look like my college wrestling days. I'm ripped, and that's not bad for a guy of my age.
Right.
Yeah, I've got my six-pack is back, and I don't mean the one in the refrigerator.
Although that's probably there, too.
Yeah. And it's Corona, too.
Hey, Chris, tell us about, you've been living in California for years. You've got a lot of really cool friends in showbiz. Who have you been talking to, and what's the vibe with everybody else in terms of how they're approaching their work or lack of right now?
Well, everybody's waiting for the other shoe to drop and have it be safe. So I'm in contact with Annika Marks. She did a TV series, miniseries called Waco, about Waco, Texas, and the David Koresh thing. And she's just sitting on her hands, but they're editing a movie that I'm in. And so they're getting ready to get that out there. And but who else have I been talking to? Kim Arnold, this great Korean actor in New York City. Tony Plana, who did, Ugly Betty and all kinds of stuff. So I talked to Tony this morning. I talked to my friend John Jenkins, who used to work with me at the Minneapolis Children's Theater. And then, of course, we did Patty Rocks and Loose Ends. And, everybody's just sitting around waiting. There's no theater. I want to give a shout out to Brian Dennehy, who passed away at 81 in Connecticut. So, he and I did 2 movies together. He and I did A Rumor of War, a CBS movie about, from the book, A Rumor of War, about Vietnam and the Marines in Vietnam. We did that one. And then we did the next year we worked together on a movie called Rambo First Blood. So,
wow.
So that whole group of actors, we've been talking back and forth about Brian. So, but everybody's just sitting on their hands waiting, and kind of, I don't know, being in Venice, it's kind of like being up at the lake, Paul, without being able to go out on the boat,
Exactly.
So it's kind of just chilled out at the house, but the flowers are blooming and stuff like that. It's great. And of course, I'm going to hit Paul. I'm going to hit Tom and Rita Hanks, Miss Rita Wilson, who's a great singer, by the way. She has a great band, a bunch of great CDs. But I've been talking to a lot of guys down in Nashville, and who are just waiting for the tour buses to roll. But none of them are going to roll. So they're talk about economic distress. I mean, these are guys who, go out and hit the road. I think my friend Eddie Bodan, who plays with Sammy Kershaw and Aaron Neville, they were out. They played 152 dates on the road last year.
Wow.
And on this, they did the Roots for Roots tour. And and everything's parked. They're just parked.
Are those birds I'm hearing in the backyard, or those the voices in my head?
Those may be the voices in your head. But no, there's birds. I have hummingbirds here, and there's some nightingales. It's great. It's it's really good. I got my there they are. Listen. Oh, they won't do it now. That's me. But it's beautiful here. It's just amazing. I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go and get on my motorcycle and go get a a turkey burger at George's Burgers are here in town.
Now,
you wear a face mask.
Yeah, you wear a face mask, and now so you feel comfortable going back into the grocery store and.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I just I wear a mask and I follow protocol, and and when I get home, I wipe down all the products with Clorox, the bleach, and because, pardon me, I live here, but my daughter and her husband Nick, Lizzie and Nick live here, and they haven't had COVID, and they live right across the hall from me. So and they've been tested, and they don't have it. And so it's really interesting, but it's really important to follow protocol. And I know it's inconvenient, but I've had friends in New York actors who have died of it, and that's not good.
Yeah. Well, it's, like somebody put up on Twitter a few weeks ago that said, I'd rather wait a few weeks to get my hair done than have my hair done by a mortician.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Indeed.
But it's that serious. It's that serious.
It is that serious. Yeah, I had it. I'm in the over 65 demographic, and so those guys. I got a flu shot and a pneumonia shot in November, and now they say that people that did that, it served them well. And so it did. I'm still here talking to you, which is good. So,
Chris Mulkey.
But I can't. I just before you sign off, I can't wait to come back and play with you somewhere in town and sunny, and have a little brandy and a small glass of beer.
And worst case scenario, we can do it around my fire pit, northeast Minneapolis.
Oh, that would be fat. That may be even better. Yeah.
Chris, you got. Thanks, Chris Mulkey, for the whole show tonight. We've got 30 seconds left. Give us a PSA we could use on AM 950. Shout out to the AM 950 audience and tell them how to stay safe right now.
Well, for all you people out there in AM 950 in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and all of Minnesota, just follow the protocol. Stay in your homes. And if you're going to go out for a walk, talk to people from 6 feet away.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Thanks for listening to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. The show was produced by Paul Metza. The engineer was Brett Johnson in the basement of AM 950 in Eden Prairie, which is neither Eden nor a prairie. You can follow what I'm up to at paulmetza.com. We will be doing some more musical live streams. I will be reading from my book soon on my Facebook page and more. We hope everybody out there is staying safe, healthy, and happy. Be careful. We'll get over this all together. So I want to send you all my healing vibes and good vibes and love from Paul Metza. And like my dad used to tell me, remember to be kind and make someone happy.
There will be no power brokers.